is Marci Schnapp. And first I'd like to say thank you for joining us for this broadcast of Who to Hire. I am president and founder of TeamQuest Systems. We're a talent acquisition, talent management, and human infrastructure solutions company founded in 1998. So what I'm going to talk about in terms of who to hire, the first thing is there is no magic answer. There is no right person. There is no definitive who to hire. It's really all about systems and processes and using systems and processes to get to the person that you want to hire, the who to hire. So I'm going to start by a quote that is one of my favorite quotes by Peter Senge, an American scientist and director of the Center of Organizational Learning at MIT. Business and human endeavors are systems. We tend to focus on snapshots of isolated parts of the system and wonder why our deepest problems never get solved. So when we're running a business, especially a small business, an entrepreneurial business, we're looking at very small areas of our business and wondering why we have problems. And we're not necessarily looking at the big picture of what the problems in our business are and then how we can solve them and then who we can solve them with. So I'm going to take you through some information about what systems and processes we can use to answer that question of who to hire. So who to hire? So scientific success, what makes up successful people? So back in 2009, I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Presser, who is co-creator of a new technology called Teamability. And what Teamability does is it measures an individual's ability to work constructively with others. It also measures what role a person plays on a team in terms of their ability to serve a specific area of an organization, so a function in an organization, whether you need somebody to help you with strategy, whether you're looking for someone to help you with execution of that strategy, if you're looking for a bookkeeper or a controller, someone who's going to manage your resources, if you're looking for somebody who's going to create a community for your organization. So what Teamability can measure is a person's natural affinity to do those exact things. So going back to looking at what makes people successful, Brian Tracy said that teamwork is so important that it's virtually impossible for you to reach the heights of your capabilities or make the money that you want without becoming very good at it. So I think from my experience over the last 15 years, when people have been most successful in their jobs and in their lives is when they have that ability to be a team player. And we all talk about it. We all want team players. But what does that really look like? So Teamability is a new technology that actually can show us what that really looks like. And then we can identify it in people and then understand by going through the process who we can hire. So first we need to start with our business objectives. So here are a few business objectives that I think are common and we all have them. Now each business is obviously going to have specific business objectives under each of these items that need to be accomplished. But for the purpose of this presentation, let's just start with maximizing return of investment. We all want to do that, who to hire. We want to maximize the return of investment by selecting only top quality applicants. So again, that who is top quality? How do we measure top quality? How do we recognize it? How do we develop it? How do we nurture it? We all want reduced turnover because turnover costs a lot of money, a lot of heartache, a lot of stress. Turnover stalls business initiatives and causes disruption. We want to have productive and harmonious teams with department synergy. We want people who work together well in their own team and who will also work well with other teams, whether they are outside suppliers, internal teams. We need everybody working together for common goals of the organization. We want to be able to screen out those who are not team players, and we want to be able to do this fast and fairly, objectively. We also want to reduce stress and maximize productivity. So those are, I think we can all agree that those are very common objectives for all businesses. So we start with a recruitment process. So the first place to start really in determining who to hire is a stakeholder meeting, looking at a needs assessment. Look at what we have now in the organization and then do a SWOT analysis. We're not looking to just patch up a hole or create a Band-Aid solution. Too many times people are in a panic, let's just get someone in here to do this, let's get someone in here to do that, and there's no real thought taken into account, no process, and the end result does not meet any of the business objectives. So we want to look at that. What we can do to recognize who to hire is we could administer this new technology called Teamability, and we administer it to stakeholders and or team members. And through administering the Teamability technology, we can then benchmark success within an organization. So we look at the Teamability technology literally measures the individuals in an organization. It will measure what role they are serving, what their teaming characteristics are, as well as their coherence, their ability to give and receive information accurately and clearly. So that's the first stage, is really looking at what our needs are and what we have now. Then, based on the needs assessment, including the data from the Teamability reports, we can then, and the SWOT analysis, we can then create a talent acquisition strategy, and the TAS for short. And this is very important. So we create a talent acquisition strategy by using the SWOT, using the data from the Teamability reports, and coming up with a strategy. Who are we going to look for? What role are they going to play in the organization? What will be our budget? What does the job description look like? And a number of other factors. Once we create our talent acquisition strategy, we're going to then have to develop initiatives to brand our organization as a workplace of choice. Because in order to attract the best talent, the who we should hire, we're really going to have to equally present ourselves that that person should join our organization. So we start to develop these initiatives. We also need to then formulate position descriptions. And I've done my best to put this in a chronological order. Some items really have to be done concurrently together. Some can be done in this order, most can be done in this order, but developing the initiatives to brand the organization may be something that is ongoing and takes a little longer. Then once we've determined what the need is, we have to create a position description. And I like to use role-based attraction. And we will formulate this position description from the information we gathered from the Teamability data on our existing team. We will look at what role is missing in the organization. Then we will look to formulate a position description to attract somebody that is innately attracted to that position, and we will formulate a description around that. So we are attracting what we want to attract. And then once we've got our role-based attraction position description, then we're going to look at developing a comprehensive candidate pool. We can do this, there are different ways to do this. We can use an executive search firm, we can use a contingency search firm, we can use in-house resources, we can use industry associations, our networks, we can use job boards, we can use LinkedIn. There are a lot of different ways we can develop candidate pools. We would have to decide how we're going to develop our candidate pools. Usually this would be in the talent acquisition strategy. We would look at what are the costs associated with developing these pools, how much time we have. There are a lot of factors that would go into that. Once we've got our candidate pool, the important point I want to stress is that we need a pool of candidates. We don't necessarily just want to hire the person that, the first person that we see. So once we've got our pool, We want to conduct telephone or an email questionnaire to establish the candidate's salary range, location, ability to travel, availability, travel, timing, and interest level. So essentially we want to qualify the candidate before we go any further. There's no point in not doing this step because it's just going to come back to bite in the end when the candidate decides that it's too far to travel from more than 30 minutes or more than 60 minutes per day, or someone wants to work from home, someone wants to work from office. So all of those things need to be covered off initially once you've decided to contact a person or an individual contacts you. Then from there, I recommend using Teamability technology on your candidates that you've pre-qualified. And what this means is administering the Teamability questionnaire. It's an online questionnaire, and the reports are generated as soon as the individual completes the questionnaire. And what Teamability will do, will set a bar and objectively screen all your candidates. And then once you've got the reports in, you can compare all the qualified applicants quickly to ensure that all candidates are a good match between their role as measured by Teamability, so their corporate function. Are they a doer? Are they a strategist? Will they manage and oversee groups? Will they be able to manage resources? So we want to have their corporate function in alignment with our requirement. We also want to ensure that our candidates have a high level of coherence. Coherence is an ability to positively work with other people. So this will ensure positive collaboration, teaming. We also want to look at individual teaming characteristics to make sure that they're appropriate for our organization's mission, culture, and expectations. And all of this information will be available from the candidate's teaming reports, Teamability reports, and even before you have them in your door to meet them, you will know that they are well qualified for the position, and you will not be wasting your time interviewing people that are not the right fit, not the who that you want. From there, you're going to have to interview, interview your top three. I recommend 3 to 5 candidates, and I recommend interviewing people at least twice on different occasions. A lot of times clients will say, well, we want to save some time. They'll bring in somebody, interview them for half an hour, and then pass them on to somebody else in the office to meet. I recommend that you have the person come back on 2 separate occasions, and also recommend to be careful whom you choose to conduct the interview. Make sure that whomever is conducting the interviews is qualified to conduct an interview, has experience having an interview, understands the requirements of the position, understands the candidate's background, understands the candidate's expectations, and has been very well debriefed. So many times it's on the fly. You say, come and meet this person. You do quickly shake hands. And this is not a way to determine if this person should be hired. So to facilitate the interview process, I recommend developing a set of interview questions and to be consistent with these questions. So each candidate should be asked the exact same questions. This is very, very important so that you can then measure the answers, as well as a number of other items that you can look for. Body language, eye contact, being on time, etc. Then I also recommend developing a set of criteria to measure candidates during the interview. So what are you looking for, and knowing upfront what you're looking for in an interview. Are you looking for somebody to be on time? Are you looking for somebody to present him or herself in an articulate manner? What are you looking for someone to be able to clearly communicate who they are and what they're looking for? So know what your criteria is, and make sure each person conducting interviews understands the criteria and will use the same criteria. I recommend using interview scorecards for this exact reason. Having this criteria on a scorecard, establishing a rating scale, and assigning an answer to a scale on the scorecard and writing it down and tracking it. I also recommend, after having interviews with the candidates, that you obtain candidate feedback. This is a very important part of the process, and it's a part that I think a lot of organizations really skip. They just assume that the candidate is not interviewing anywhere else. The candidate is obviously in love with the position that they have to offer. They just make assumptions, and this is not the way to find out who to hire. You will gain a lot of information just learning what the candidate has to say and understanding the candidate's thought process if you ask the candidate for feedback after the interview. Once you've got your scorecards from the interview process and you've got feedback from the candidate, then it's time to tally the candidate's scores and compare notes and candidate feedback to make selections. Once you make your selection, then you can ask for references and conduct reference checks. Once you Once you complete your reference check and you make a selection then you can draft an offer to your candidate. And then verbally, in person, present the offer to the candidate. And this is very important. In the verbal conversation with the candidate, when you're going to present the offer, have the position description. Understand exactly, have a mutual agreement on exactly what the position is, who it reports to, what the salary will be, what would the expectations be, the working hours, when is the start date, vacation, benefits, anything and everything. You want to have a discussion, a sit down face-to-face with the candidate and make sure that the candidate understands all of your expectations and is in agreement with those. So again, getting feedback from the candidate, perhaps having a question and answer period, and then only after at that point, then you can, if everything is satisfactory, you're comfortable that the candidate understands what the position is willing to accept the position and the terms, then you can prepare a written offer based on the mutual satisfaction of the terms. This is also very important, is obtain a duly signed employment contract before the start date. This is often missed, and a verbal agreement will be made and then the contract will be signed at a later date, and this can certainly cause problems later on if there are disagreements in terms of what the position entails, the salary, the working hours, vacation, you name it. There can lots of issues can come up. So I recommend, I recommend that this is done before the person starts. And just in closing, I'd like to say that there's no easy answer to who to hire. It really is a process. I've given some steps in the process. I'm sure that there are more steps that can be taken and will come up when you are going through the process yourself. But if you start with the internal assessment and looking at your needs and looking at your own team and using this new technology that's available to benchmark, you will have a lot of answers from the get-go of who to hire. And then you can go through the process of really identifying who and making sure that that person would like to join your organization. And from there, you will be able to meet your objectives in terms of better ROI increased ROI, less turnover, reduced stress, and meeting your goals and objectives of your organization.